has time. The Ukraine war is 1 year old today. It is bloodstained, and it seems to have become a stalemate with no clear victors. Or so you think. The Ukraine war actually has a clear winner, and gravitas is not afraid to declare it. The winner of the Ukraine war is the global arms industry. The colossal arms industry, the industry that made $2 trillion in the last 1 year alone. Every bomb, every shell, every missile fired by both sides achieved one thing. It sounded a boom for the arms manufacturers and dealers the world over. Their order books grew fat. They were the principal beneficiaries of Mariupol and other ports of Kherson, Kharkiv, and the likes. You may disagree with us. You may believe that the defense industry is not the winner of the war. Their propagandists will tell you that they are doing the world a service. So stay with us as we state the facts. You see, when Russian tanks began rolling into Ukraine, it changed the dynamics of strategic thinking. Not only had an inconceivable war started in Europe, but across the world, nations woke up and realized that their regional tensions could escalate suddenly and quickly into active conflict. The West, intent so far on extending the NATO embrace, began to get nightmares about the revival of the Russian Empire. In Asia, countries started fearing a copycat war. What if China replicated Ukraine in Taiwan? China has never hidden its desire to absorb Taiwan. And what if it started to use military means? The first impact in the region would be on Japan, which believes Taiwan's security is synonymous with its own security. Ukraine made one thing clear: the global order was changing, and countries started to prepare for this new order with a simple doctrine: safety first. And this meant armament and rearmament. Do you prepare for an uncertain future? How do you do that? Well, you arm up. Countries that had presumed that it was safe under an American umbrella, like Japan and Germany, decided that they could no longer outsource their security. Countries that had limited defense spending escalated their defense budgets, and all of these countries ended up going to the same place for the solution: offices of the defense contractors. Listen to the facts and draw your own conclusions. The shares of British defense giant BAE Systems up 52% since the war started. Italy's Leonardo, 60%. SAB shares are up 161%. Shares of Germany's Rheinmetall AG, which makes the Leopard battle tank, are up 156%. You see, the reason is obvious. Ukraine has had an endless demand for tanks and every kind of weaponry, while others are not far behind. Perhaps Putin has become the best weapon salesperson of modern times indirectly. Lockheed Martin shares are up 24% since the start of the war. Northrop Grumman, 20%. What would you call them if not the winners of the Ukraine war? 2022 was a bumper year for the defense industry, with orders coming in even from the countries that have not been on defense shopping spree in around 8 decades now. Germany and Japan, Axis powers in the Second World War, were permitted only controlled rearming after the Second World War. They embraced a pacifist stand, and their economies benefited from limited spending programs. But the war in Ukraine changed all of this. Japan, for that matter, has doubled its military spending in a new 5-year defense plan. It has jumped up to become the world's third biggest military spender in a single year. past year, Germany has announced a spend of 100 billion euros or $106 billion on defense. The Chancellor Olaf Scholz called it a sea change. Today, Poland wants to increase its defense budget to 3% of its GDP. France wants to increase its military spending by more than 30%. Consulting firm McKinsey & Company estimating that Europe's military spending will increase by 53% between 2021 and 2026. But you see, this big spending is not limited to just Europe. Neither is the profit. Less than 6 days into the Ukraine war, an Israeli paper had declared that the country's defense industry was the early winner of the war. It said the war in Ukraine caused Germany to double its defense budget and sent other European countries scrambling for weapons. The big victor is Elbit Systems, the shares of which soared by 18% in just 2 days. In 2022, South Korea declared that it wants to become the world's 4th largest weapons exporter by the year 2027. South Korea, in fact, struck a $6 billion deal with Poland to sell arms. Its arms factories are humming with profit. Norway and Estonia as well started talks with South Korean defense manufacturers. What worked in favor of Seoul is that Korean defense contractors were willing to transfer technology. And that is something American defense giants don't do. But this did not stop Americans from pocketing deals. US military equipment sale to foreign countries shot up 49%. How much is that jump in dollars? $205.6 billion. American defense giants Lockheed Martin, Raytheon received record orders. Lockheed's Javelin anti-tank missiles and HIMARS rocket launcher became a popular name in this war. In many ways, the Ukraine war was like a free ad campaign for the arms industry. For instance, every time a drone caused mayhem in Ukraine, the global media started digging up details of the drone, which country was it made in, what is the drone's name, what are its features, its cost. Everything was being aired to a global audience, free of cost. Drones in specific were being discussed as the game changer in this war. Ukraine used Turkish drones in its counter-offensive, and Russia bought drones from Iran. India's nascent arms industry has doubtless benefited from the new environment. At the recent Aero show, Indian drones attracted discerning attention from arms purchasers. The show itself was one of the most successful ones so far. Abu Dhabi also recently held its Defense Industry Expo. It turned out to be the largest and the most well-attended in years. Analysts were not surprised. They pointed at the war in Ukraine, also at this number. In 2022, the global military expenditure crossed $2.1 trillion for the first time ever. $2.1 trillion. And this number is only expected to grow further. So, would you still disagree with me when I say that the defense industry only winner so far of this Ukraine war?
Hey guys, welcome to Forward. We're a new type of doctor's office that's about.
Let's go straight across now to our correspondent Anas Malik, who has been tracking the very latest coming in from Ukraine all through this week. Anas, tell us more about what's happening on the ground. Tell us more about where you are and what the people around you have been telling you.
Well, Molly, I'm currently in the strategic city of Mykolaiv. Earlier today, we were in Kherson, where we have been reporting from. Kherson is very near or just off the Dnieper River, and this is where I'm standing. This is the junction. So anybody who wants to get to Odessa, they'll have to come to Mykolaiv, and similarly, anybody traveling from Kherson will have to come to Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv was also under Russian occupation, or they tried to capture it at least for 7 weeks on these roads. What you see scenes behind me, scenes like these, they're very common, of destruction and death. 130 civilians were killed in an armory and an infantry and an artillery battle on the roads of Mykolaiv. In Kherson, where you heard earlier today, shelling still continue. That was under occupation of Russian forces for about 9 months, and then only after to be retaken by the Ukrainian armed forces in November last year. So by and large, at least in the southern part of the country where we are right now, we've been here for a week. I was here last year as well, covering for Beyond, and Beyond has been tracking it very closely from the ground. The things have changed, at least in the southern side. The impact of the war is still felt. In the center or in the west, people have come to terms with it. They are trying to live around with what is the new normal, but the southern end of the country is yet to get a grip of it, and that is the reason there is this palpable fear that is preventing people from going out more and more. Molly?
Right. Earlier, Ukraine also sought an extension of that deal that would also include the ports of Mykolaiv, the grain shipment deal. Tell us more, Anas, about the significance of this move and why Ukraine is pushing for the same.
Mykolaiv is a breaking and shipbuilding city. Ukraine sought an extension. As I said, it is a junction. It is a junction that basically gives you the access to the southern side of the country, and in case and to the Crimean Peninsula as well. So in case if at all this gets blocked, Ukrainian exports via the sea route or the land route or even imports, they're hostage. The reason the Ukrainian side sought an extension to that route up till Mykolaiv, and it totally makes sense. The reason the Russian side wanted to go ahead and annex it or capture it in the early days of the war, as I said, for 7 weeks on these roads, scenes like these that are behind me of destruction, they're very common around here in Mykolaiv, in Kherson, where we were earlier today. So as I said, it's a very strategic, it's a strategically placed city. It's a junction to the southern end of the country, and in case if it's blocked, the imports, both the imports and the exports, they become hostage, or they're essentially blocked as well. So you have nowhere to go. The reason this city becomes much more important, and the reason it's not an extension point.
Anas Balek reporting live from Mykolaiv in Ukraine. Thanks very much for that. We are now available in your country. Download the
Shalom, give all praise, Yahweh Shem Yashah, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to elders and apostles, men in the truth on down regarding this truth and knowledge, and call holy Yahweh Shem Yashah, Bashem Rakakadash. The wadi Yahweh Shem Yashah for putting in the spirit of the men, the elders and apostles, men in the truth on down regarding this truth and knowledge, so we can know this truth and knowledge, and call holy Yahweh Shem Yashah, Bashem Rakakadash. Give all praise, Yahweh Shem Yashah, Bashem Rakakadash. I was relating to a report, Wayan Gravitas, talking about who's the winner as far as the real winner relating to the war. Really, the arms and manufacturer dealers and companies that help build these weapons for relating to for both sides of participants of the war, you know what I mean? Because war is big business, and business is good, man. Related to these dealers, arms dealers and manufacturers, and subsidiary companies that help build these weapons, pretty much, man. I'm gonna get a quote for Eisenhower. I'm just trying to find something. Pretty much a farewell speech relating to the councils of government. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by military-industrial complex. Potentially for disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. That misplaced power is that power, the earth has been given to the hands of the wicked. We put it with a scripture, Job 9:24, man. I'll get some scriptures. It's pretty much with more power consumes corruption. Let me see if I can get that quote. Part of that greed is the power, man. With that greed, man. The power, the money. That's all combined influence relating to that power, man. But in this place, that misplaced power, that power is not that power that's out of place, out of pocket, even out of control. That's potentially dangerous, man. That's why that was a warning by Dwight Eisenhower during that speech relating to pretty much monitor and keep an eye on the military complex relating to that, man. That was an address on 1961. January 17, 1961. Farewell speech. Let me see if I can get that quote. All right, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts. So power tends to corrupt, man. With power, it corrupts, it influences, man. Through that power, man, it corrupts the minds because they're given that position of power, and absolute power, which is part of that being that misplaced power, that power that's not in check, breeds more corruption, man. And absolute power, absolutely, corruption. So power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Go to, let's get some scriptures. We'll go to Isaiah 54:16. I created a blacksmith who builds a fire and forges weapons. Forges put it together. And I will create a soldier who uses the weapons to kill. But no weapon will able to hurt you. You will have an answer for all who accuse you. I will defend my servants and give them victory, which is ultimately the prophets, But ultimately, these weapons were created for war, man, to be used, man, for war, man. That's Isaiah 54:16, man. The smart men of Teman, talking about the ones, your scientists, your physicists, to help, with the creation of relating to putting chemicals and atoms and putting the right nucleus and the right chemicals together with these weapons so they can to accomplish their mission. Pretty much the wise men of Teman. Let's continue on. Go to Revelation 6:4. There went out another horse that was red. That's Edom, red. And the power was given to him because the earth has been given to the hands of him. Power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Because his blessings, that sword, part of that sword is the military might, man. The hammer of the earth. The hammer is a tool, instrument potentially used as a tool for instrument It's a tool potentially that's used for cruelty and punishment, man. So they that hammer, that military's part of that hammer, man, of the earth, man. Go to go to Genesis, get to the point. And by thy sword thou shalt live, because it's given as a blessing to the ones in power, man. By the sword they shall live. They shall use that sword to the fullest capacity to and effectively to take over resources, lands at their bidding, man, by using that sword. And by that sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke off thy neck, man. So by the sword thou shalt live, man. That's the ones in power. Esau, man. You know what I mean? That's his blessing, man, the sword, man. And through the sword, he will gain access to all things, man, because the power has been given to him by using that sword. That's part of that power, man. The hammer of the earth. Let's get that. How's the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken, which is Babylon. Babylon represents America. That's a queen, man. Scripture talks about, I sit a queen, I shall see no sorrow. Queen is a very powerful a kingdom. This is a feministic and feminine rulership, man. So how is the hammer of the earth? How is the hammer? Read it again. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among nations? Pretty much the dilapidation, the collapse of Babylon, man. Because that hammer, part of that hammer is what? That tool, instrument of tool used for instrument of cruelty, man. You know what I mean? So the hammer is through that military, man. The military is part of that hammer, man. Hammers, pounds and hits, man. So that's how America represents, man. That driving force, man, of an instrument to implement punishment, man. You know, through their military might. The military might's part of that hammer, man. How is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? How has the Babylon become a desolation among the nations? 24. I have laid a snare for thee, a trap, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. Striven goes against, man. 25. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Indignation is a righteous anger. Part of those weapons he uses is these missiles, man. The Lord put in their minds to create these things, these missiles. It's the Lord that put in the smart men, the team men, man, to build these sophisticated technology, man. That's part of their blessing of the sword, man. Their technology, man. And so the Lord put it in their mind to be able to create these things, man. The same things he allowed them to create are going to be the same things that are going to be used against them, because these things are going to be used against them, man. And the Lord have opened up his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation, which is the righteous anger. The weapons are related to the missiles, man. His own technology. For this is the work of the Lord of hosts, which is the army, in the land of the Chaldeans, which is America. So the Lord had used these weapons. Let me get Proverbs real quick. going to use these weapons. He's going to put in the spirit of these other nations to turn against Babylon, man. The allies I'm talking about, because the scripture talks about that America rides with EU and NATO. That's the symbolic. The woman represents America riding on top of what these nations, man, and EU, man. But they all going to turn against her, man, according to prophecy, man. Proverbs 24 and go to 24. I'll get it from a different version. See what it says. I'll get it this version. Causing trouble is all they ever think about. And that's the ones in power, the wicked. Every time they open their mouth, someone is going to be hurt. And that goes to the deceit and deception, what they speak, the things they speak, man. Now I'm going to get it from, that's a GNT version. I'm going to get it from a regular version. That relates to the Good News translation, GNT. That goes with they said that scripture you can put it they don't rest until they cause mischief. Put that with Proverbs 4 and 16, man. You can get that one too. For their heart studieth destruction. Their heart, which is their mind, they study destruction. They figure out how the ways to cause trouble and implement certain things, man. That's not going to be beneficial for the overall collective, man. Remember your speech, farewell speech, beware of the military-industrial complex, man. January 17, 1961, man. Dwight Eisenhower. For their heart study of destruction and their lips talk of mischief, which is deceit, man. I want to go to number 8. He deviseth. Deviseth is the plan, man. Implement, craft, plan out, and eventually do, man. He that deviseth to do evil shall be called a mischievous person. A mischievous person, man. A person to what? Do harm. That goes with trouble, man. One who's studying for destruction, one who's studying to do trouble, one who's studying to do mischief and pretty much no good, man. Let's go with Proverbs 16, 4 and 16. For they sleep not. Who don't sleep? That's the ones in power, man. They restless, man. They have insomnia, which means they can't sleep, man. Except they have done mischief, man. The mischievous goes to do harm, man. And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So they gotta fulfill their purpose as far as causing trouble and it being effective where others don't benefit, man. Where it's not going to be beneficial for others, man. Pretty much it's going to be other people's demise. Then they'll have rest, man, because their mindset is to cause trouble and to figure out how to create new ways to cause trouble and destruction, man. That's the ones in position of power. Job 9 and 24, the earth has been given to the hands of the wicked, man. This might seem far-fetched to a worldly person to understand, but these people, ones in position of power who control different things relating to whether to dictate war or to implement war, You'd be surprised, man. 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence, man. So wickedness and violence is in their heart and their mind, man. Just like that report said with Hawaiian Gravitas, the real winners are the manufacturer, the weapons manufacturers, and these weapons and manufacturer companies such as Bay and Northrop, Truman, and what other one? Let me see. Let me get some weapons companies. Here we go. Raytheon, yeah, Raytheon, Bay Systems, General Dynamics, Boeing, some more. What company makes weapons? Let me see. Lockheed Martin. Here we go. Northrop Grumman. Raytheon Technologies, Lockheed Martin, just a list of them. Boeing, General Dynamics, a lot of them actually. Some more. So that's a few examples, you know, General Dynamics, Bay Systems, Raytheon, Northrop on Grumman, the military, airplanes, different other weaponries, missiles and different things, Boeing, L3 Harris Technologies, Lockheed Martin, as I was saying, Leonardo, Huntington, Ingalls Industries, Autobus Group, Beretta, Northrop Grumman Corporation, Leidos, L3 Technologies, Almas, Anti, FN, Herstal, Textron, Taurus, Raytheon Company, L3 Harris, Safran, United Technologies Group, and various other, etc., etc. You know, a lot of companies, man. They make billions and even trillions of dollars from war, man. War is good business, man. You know, off the death and destruction, you know, off the death and destruction of, you know, human casualty. These companies make billions and trillions of dollars, man. So the real winners of these wars is these manufacturers who help produce these weapons and weaponry to create so they can use for war. And war and business of war don't they don't discriminate. They don't show no favor, man, because in the end of the day, whether it's Ukraine or US or these other countries, man, they all gonna make money, man. You know what I mean? So they all in it for the money, man. So like I said, war is good business, and business is good right to these companies, man. This is just a few scriptures. Shalakia for kind of rambling a little bit, but so that was a report relating to Wyon Gravitas, and for that, I hope this helps in some way. I'm going to give all praise, Yahweh Shem Yahshua B'Shem Rakakadash. This is Ayah Wolf. I hope it helps. Shalom.